Do you ever wonder about the difference between installing with Homebrew versus npm global versus npm install versus nvm versus npx? This video makes it simple.
Bootstrap your dev box, quick and snappy. Tools on deck, keep it all happy.
You ever break a build just by installing something? You probably installed it in the wrong scope. There's really three scopes. There's the system level, there's user global, and there's project local. And everyone gets this wrong until today. I'm Lee from Full Stack Drip. Let's fix your dev box and stop breaking the build with works on my machine. Now, I'm using a Mac in this example. These concepts will transfer to Linux and WSL on Windows. For Windows, think about, instead of Homebrew, think about Chocolatey instead. So what goes where in a world with brew, npm install g, and a million version managers and dozens of package managers? Let me show you, because there's a million ways to do it and almost every single one of them is wrong. Section 1, system scope. Let's pop out the Chrome here. So I'm just navigating to brew.sh. So system level, this is going to be Homebrew and friends. At the system level, typically you need sudo to install to it. So the first thing you're going to do is, instead of just randomly installing stuff, we're going to use Homebrew as a package manager. So we go to Homebrew and we see that we've got an installation script, which is a curl pipe to bash script. Now, curl pipe to bash doesn't always feel the greatest, and I know that there's some consternation there, which is why we don't want to do it a lot, which is why we're installing Homebrew in the first place, because Homebrew is going to let us install stuff to the system level without having to type sudo. So first we go ahead and we paste this in here and we install, and see, it's asking for sudo right now. Now I already have Homebrew installed, so this is just gonna, well, probably just update it, frankly. But if you don't have it, this will install it here. If you already have brew installed, if you already know this, just skip past this part. Okay, it's installed, and then you can type brew help. Yay, and there's a bunch of brew commands. Bam, you've got Homebrew. Now, Homebrew lets you install other stuff at the system level without sudo, because it assigned you ownership of the system directory when it installed. So what kind of stuff do you do here? These are going to be system level tools, or things you'd think about installing with an app store, but they're for your CLI, like Git for version control, GitHub CLI you might be using, GH, it's called JQ, which is JSON parsing. That's one that a lot of people use, or I use that all the time. Tree for directory visualization. You can also install some GUI apps with Homebrew. We'll get into that in the Homebrew video. I've got a whole video on Homebrew coming, link in the description. For now, let's move on. Section 2, user global scope. We're going to run through an example where we use Node. We're going to use Node version manager. We're going to use Node's package managers. Now, here's where people screw up. Here's where I've screwed up. Here's where dev teams screw up. For Node, Python, Ruby, Rust, Go, Java, you don't just want to install a single version. You don't want to install from a single version installer. You'll be in a world of hurt. You need version managers. This is the number one mistake that people make, and this is probably the most important point of this video. Even Node's official site says don't install Node, use a version manager, and we can look at that. Node.js.org or org. See, this is Node's official site, and see what the first thing it says to do is? Yeah, you can go down here and get this, but what it says right here is download and install NVM. That's a version manager. And further, the version managers have their own installers. This is so they can go in the right scope, which is user global. There's NVM, Volta, FNM. For Python, there's pyenv. Ruby has rubenv, RBenv. Java has SDK man with an exclamation point. For now, no, version managers should be global scope. So find the installers. SDK man. Okay, you've installed brew, you've installed a version manager. So what's next? Well, now we need a package manager. For Node, Node comes with npm, but let's just install pnpm so you can see me install one. Also, pnpm's strictly better, which we will get into later. So we go to pnpm. Hi Theo, and we hit get started. We go to the installation. Now, you might be wondering, do we install these with npm? No, we do not. These are other curl scripts. Oops, I'll show you. I went to my terminal. And there you go. Python, you've got pip. For Ruby, you've got RBN, for Ruby, you've got gems, the original classic that's built in, and then you also have bundler. Rust has cargo, that's all you get. I mean, that's all you need, and that's all you get. That's built in. Go has Go mod built in. Java has Gradle or Maven. And now, most languages have one main package manager that just works. That's a great place to start. It's a great place to start, and it's also a great thing to know because that's you're going to run into it if you're doing development work. It's good to know this, but also know that some dev team you're going to jump on is almost certainly going to have an advanced package manager. So now with the package managers installed, we have system with Homebrew installed, so we can install more things to the system. We have user global, where we have our version managers. In our example, we're using NVM. We have our package managers. In our example, we have npm and pnpm to install things. These are used to install things related to your language, or packages related to your runtime. They're also used to install things locally. That gives us the full set of starting tools. Now we can install packages. Again, here's the trick. Good versus bad global installs. Good global installs don't change per project. Examples would be like NodeMon, Vercel, or Netlify CLIs. GitHub's CLI, GH, or as aforementioned, version managers, any version managers. Bad global installs, and these are the ones that break the build, where it works on your machine, no one else's, because it doesn't come in with the project. If it's not in the repo, it doesn't exist. A bad global install would be Vite. That should be in the scaffolding per project. Prettier, that should be pinned to your project, to your repo. ESLint plugins, because ESLint could be different for every repo. React, Next, Vue, always are project scoped and should be pinned to the right version. I think you're getting the point. If it affects the code, if it affects your repo, it should be pinned in your repo and installed locally, not globally. Trust me, you want to pin these things locally. So let me show you something. Let me jump to my terminal. Let me show you the right way. Let me just make a initialize it. Now we have a package.json. See, we've got the start of a package here. Starting a new project, clean slate. Now, let's install our package local dependencies. Package.json is here with these dependencies pinned. Now they're installed at the project level. They're pinned to the repo. And let me show you that package.json file. Okay, so it opened in Xcode, not VS Code. Same thing. Well, not really, but it works for our purposes. So yeah, here's the package.json file. We can see that ESLint is pinned to this version, Prettier is pinned to this version or higher, Vite is pinned to 7.1, and Vitest or Vitest. Test is pinned to the suspiciously named 404. So now, when someone clones this repo and runs pnpm install, they get exactly those versions. There's no works on my machine hodgepodge. This is how you keep your team from revolting. Doesn't seem like people should be able to break a build in 2025, but it can happen. Now we can also pin what version of Node we're doing. So now there's that file there. So as you can see, we can even pin, what file or what version of Node we're using. Now there's one more scope that's not really a scope. I call it the no scope, and it's for executing one-off scaffolding tools. It's a download, it runs and deletes it. It keeps your box clean, and it makes sure that the script you're running is always current. The examples here could be like create V or create next app, or for Python you can run black. The commands for these are npx for npm, pnpm dlx for pnpm, pipx for pip, or there's sometimes a run once and execute. Those are great for scaffolding. You don't need that installed on your box, and it keeps it current. That's the 360 no scope get wrecked for stale global junk. Lock those in, and works on my machine becomes works on every machine. And that's it. I'll have a post on fullstackdrip.com where you can download these cheat sheets. Next video in the Bootstrap Your Dev Box series, which was gonna be right here, we're gonna dig more into Homebrew. For now, thanks for watching. Comment below. I read everything and answer most. Until next time, peace. Full Stack Drip.
Booty body. Full stack drip, yeah, you know the drill. It's a vibe, you know.